Hey guys, Steph Sanity. So I have mentioned a logbook several times on my channel, especially my monthly plan with me videos, but I think it's time I dedicate a whole video to showing you how I keep a logbook and why I've been reaching for my logbook over my regular bullet journal. So this book, Steal Like an Artist, is a super popular book. I'll link it down below. I highly recommend it, but that's where I got the word logbook from. I didn't know what to call it, but I did keep a logbook in the past. It's very much like a journal, only some minor differences. So I'm showing you my bullet journal. If you didn't see my latest bullet journal setup for September, as you can see, I haven't been reaching for it very much. I probably should reach for it more. I've just been leaning towards picking up something a little bit more simple and straightforward, especially with being so busy lately. I just think the minimalistic vibe is more what resonates with me and what works for me as far as efficiency and just keeping up with everything. This is actually the journal that I use for my logbook. If you've seen some of my previous videos or if you follow me on Instagram, then this will look familiar to you. Most of the journals I use, I design, but I want to kind of get through some of the previous journals that I purchased. I have a big stack of those, so I decided to start out with this. And if it gets messed up, I don't have to sweat it as much as if I had one of my favorite journals. So going back to Steal Like an Artist, there's a portion at the very end of the book that discusses the logbook. The artist strongly believes that everybody should keep a logbook, and I always have agreed with this. So I was so excited to read this portion of the book, and I want to share some of that with you. That way you have something else to base this whole idea on other than just taking it from me. So reading here, it just says, just as you need a chart of future events, you also need a chart of past events. A logbook isn't necessarily a diary or journal. It's just a little book in which you can list the things you do every day, what project you worked on, where you went to lunch, what movie you saw. It's much easier than keeping a detailed diary, and you'd be amazed at how helpful having a daily record like this can be, especially over several years. The small details will help you remember the big details, which I can definitely attest to. And I think it's awesome because not everybody does want to write a lot or keep a journal, and so this method will really appeal to you. It shows some little doodles and drawings, so the options definitely are limitless when it comes to keeping a logbook. If you take a peek into my logbook, then you can see that I'm definitely more of a writer than I am a planner. I don't necessarily draw a lot in mine. I like to keep it very clean and minimal, and I just like to write down all the little details of the day that I want to look back on at a later time. In addition to that, I also like to keep some pages set to the side that I can kind of keep adding to that are important to my life, such as home projects. As you see here, I'm listing all the furniture out that I want to buy for the home, and I'm also going to maybe add some drawings or photos later for inspiration and just keep track of every little detail. As you can see, I have that tab at the corner, and I'll talk more about the tabs in a little while. The next one was goals and affirmations, and as you can see, it's just so I can keep all those bullet journal benefits in this journal, but mostly put attention on what I actually did for the day rather than what I plan to do. That way I have a more accurate depiction of what I do day to day, if that makes sense, because I don't want to look back on things that I planned to do but didn't actually get around to. So this logbook is really accurate to what I actually accomplished. I use these three color tabs just to keep my more important pages or my different pages separate from my actual logbook. So I'm just showing you how I do tab the corners, and I kind of just do it as you would like a file folder so that I can easily access them. You could also write little labels on the ends of the tabs to make it even easier on yourself. Here's a page that I took from my bullet journal. It's to keep track of all the things I want to listen to, read, watch, learn, and then the other category, which I filled in puzzle to start out that category. And then I have some ideas and reminders on the right-hand side. And this is the page that I go back to the most. I think any of you can copy that into your own journals, whether it's a logbook or a bullet journal, and you would get a lot of use out of that. This next page, maybe not so much. This is my YouTube tracker. I like to keep track of my ideas because I forget them if I don't write them down. And then at the bottom, I have a section for growth and then improvements. The improvements I'm definitely putting a lot of thought into. And then on the right hand side, I have a buy list. I am on a budget. I don't like to put in too many orders for too much at once, so I kind of go down my list and prioritize them and then check them off as I buy them. I might add bills to this page as well if I don't fill it up anytime soon, but I would kind of call it a spin-off of a budget, just a little bit simpler and more straightforward. The next two pages are more fun, and I would highly recommend anybody to keep these pages in your journal as well, whether whether it's a bullet journal or a logbook, and it's my inspiration page and my current obsessions. I really get excited when I have stuff to add to these two pages. Current obsessions can be anything from being really silly to really serious. You could do makeup, food, shows, anything like that. And inspiration, I would highly recommend writing some things down that you can look back on and re-look up. For example, if you see some videos that inspire you, then write them down so you can reference them in the future when you're feeling a little bit depleted and you don't know how to motivate yourself. This is a great tool to keep in your back pocket. Okay, now that I covered the pages that are comparable to a bullet journal spread, then I'm going to get into more of the logbook stuff, which is not as exciting, but it's really nice to still keep and look back on. And it's the most important, in my opinion, of any kind of journal. And so for the 9th, this was yesterday, and I'm just writing that it was a rainy day and Kenny and I stayed in and we watched movies. I wrote what movies we watched and how I would rate them, because sometimes when you think about it, you can't remember how good a movie is. And then on the 10th, that's today, I'm writing that I received my canvas from Shutterfly of my wedding photo. Absolutely love how it came out. And then a Sephora order. I'm really excited to play with those products. And if I like them a lot, then they may make it into my current obsessions page. And after that, I'm going to write that I hung up the canvas and then I filmed this spontaneous video on a logbook. It just kind of came to me and I wanted to get this video done while the idea was still fresh in my head. Okay, and here's an important point I wanted to cover. If you do want to keep track of your plans as well so you don't forget them, you want to have everything all in one place like I do, then you can still do that. What I recommend is keeping all your plans separate from your logbook by putting them on the right-hand side. Make them their own column. You can actually draw a line down the center of the page if you want as well, just to make it a little bit more clear that it's separate. I also keep mild liners on hand or any kind of highlighter. That way I can color code my points according to a key. I covered this in my other video that in the front of this journal I keep a key where everything that is a thought or idea that is important, I put it in blue, and then I highlight anything in purple that is more of an exciting memory. So every day I'll fill out my logbook as you just saw and did with me, and then I go through each tabbed page and add anything wherever I see fit before I close up my journal for the day. It's really quick and easy. Today I had a couple things I wanted to add into my read column, and then I had an idea that I wanted to track on my ideas page before I forgot. Like I said, this is one of my favorite pages that I use all the time, and then I wanted to also add a date into my reminders since I didn't have a concrete date before for my furniture to be delivered. I'm still holding off on my goals and affirmations page because that one's so important to me and I really want to think it through. But my home projects, I'm writing that I got the canvas taken care of. And then after that, we are done for the day and we'll repeat the same process tomorrow and every day after. It's so much easier to keep up with this. I highly recommend it. And like I said, you can always change it up. Do some writing, do some bullet points, some note taking, and also add in some doodles to change it up and make it more fun. There's a lot less pressure and you don't have to be so consistent with themes and such when you keep a logbook. However, if you're crazy and excessive like me, you'll carry around both a logbook and a bullet journal and try to maintain both on a daily basis, along with all your favorite supplies to make it more convenient to pull out your journal at any time you need to. Alright guys, I think that's all I wanted to share about a logbook. I really hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Please let me know if you do, and if you plan on keeping a logbook. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.